Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today for a few minutes to think of something greater than ourselves. I'm recording this on the morning of November 3rd, 2020. It is Election Day in the United States. I have very little to say today. I feel like we're standing on holy ground for our nation. And I also learned that a friend of mine passed away this morning a little before 4 a.m. after just about a year-long battle with brain cancer. So my heart is heavy and yet joyful. I celebrate his return to the light. He was a channel, a beacon, definitely a lighthouse figure, sharing the light, transmitting it, channeling it into the world. And I celebrate him and how he has touched my life. And at the same time, like many of you, I am praying for our nation. It's kind of interesting because I think about, all that some of you are praying for, I know. You're praying for a specific outcome, many of you. I'm not. I pray for God's will and that I might be faithful, regardless of what it is. There's one thing about Presbyterians. We prize the minority report. If you go to any of our meetings, from General Assembly on down to presbyteries and even individual churches, if someone has a moral objection or a matter of conscience or the facts lead them in another direction, something beyond just voting no, to any motion, they have the right to file a minority report. And that report is to be preserved for as long as the minutes of the meeting are preserved, including the successful motion, whatever that was. And the reason behind it is that we believe it is hubris to think that we have a complete understanding of the will of God. We don't. I don't pretend to know what God's will is for the future of our nation. I like to hope what it is, but I don't pretend to know what it is. And therefore it behooves us, no matter which side we are on in an election, no matter what surfaces from it, it behooves us, if we are on the winning side, not to gloat, and if we are on the losing side, not to despair. It is up to us to work toward reconciliation and peace. And we have huge gaps to bridge right now. So regardless of how this turns out in our nation's history, I can see a huge success that I already give thanks for. And that is the tremendous number of voters. You know, for one of the world's major democracies, we have had a woefully low rate of voter turnout for decades. And this year that ended. People have gotten engaged far greater rate than any other time in our history. And so I find that to be very encouraging, very exciting, and to bode well for our future. So no matter what your feeling is about winners and losers in today's tallies, know that we are winners for involvement. And know that the challenge is before us. To stay centered in God's love and God's plan. I think that's a pretty good prayerful pause for the day. No gloating, no despairing. Trusting God and figuring out How can you individually reach out and bridge just a little bit of the gap? Please pray with me. Holy and ever-loving, ever-present God, we thank you for entrusting us with your message of hope and reconciliation, with your message of love for each other, regardless of our differences. It is a challenge sometimes, especially when we don't feel love in return, or when we are attacked, or when we are belittled. That's true across the board. Help us to rise to the occasion and break the cycle. Help us to do it because that's what you ask us to do. And we carry your message to the world. And bless all those who mourn this day. Bless all those who grieve and are adjusting to loss. Help us to know when to step forward and be near, and when to step back and let your holy and healing breath, the holy Ruach, blow through them and heal them. We ask this in your holy name. Amen. Okay, everybody, thanks. Thanks for joining me. I feel better than when I started, knowing that you are there. See you next time. I'm Pastor Deb Swift of South Presbyterian Church. You've been watching A Prayerful Pause with the pastor. If you haven't already, go vote. Doesn't matter which side right now, just vote. Make sure your voice is heard. And then make your voice heard to God, before, during, and after. We'll see you next time. Until then, God bless. Be safe. Take care. Bye for now.